Look, the Bills and Jags have played weird games. They just have. We still think the Bills are going to come back from 2021.
It's happening.
This might be the longest running joke of the Buffalo Plus podcast of the Bills against Urban Meyer might still pull out that win. And it never gets old because it is so true of where this Bills team.
None of our jokes get old. We're very funny.
Certainly get old.
This is the Buffalo Plus podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome to Buffalo Plus, the presented by Connors and Ferris.
Hot start.
Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. Is this a podcast?
This is the podcast.
Okay. Buffalo Plus podcast presented by Connors and Ferris. I had a moment. All right, we're going to talk about this game, though, as well. Bills, Jags, Buffalo 2-0 to start the season. Jags winless so far. It's been a rough go for Jags fans. But, Mike, for this Buffalo team, they're probably feeling pretty good. They had a nice win in week 1, a come-from-behind win to beat Arizona last week against the Dolphins. The running game and the defense got the job done. Where do you think their head is at right now?
They should feel good. I mean, they've played really well, and the game against Miami was as complete as you're going to want to see them. It wasn't the Josh Allen game. We've had a lot of those. Mm-hmm. They didn't need it. Isn't that something? He had great moments, but it wasn't that he didn't do well.
Yeah.
They didn't need him to, because the defense.
You're good.
Oh, okay.
I was just messing with the speakers. I was on the wrong one.
That's okay. The defense played great. The running game was very good with James Cook, player of the week, and Josh didn't need to. But I will say that when you look at the NFL, if you separate this from the Bills and the Jags in this game and these two teams, Dan, when you look at the NFL, the way it goes week to week, this should make you worried if you're a Bills fan.
Yes. And comment in and what you guys think. But this is, if Trevor Lawrence didn't come out and say, we suck.
Yeah.
And that everything's got to get better, I would feel a little calmer or a little bit at ease. That's a desperate quarterback for a desperate team calling out himself and the entire team. So that was, to me, look, the Bills and Jags have played weird games. They just have. We still think the Bills are going to come back from 2021.
It's happening.
Like the Urban Meyer game. We still think the Bills are going to come back and pull that game out.
In fact, Dan and I think before this game, maybe about, the game starts what, 7:30? I'd say about 7 o'clock. Come out and just finish that game. Josh has the ball. See if he can score against the Jags to win it, because we still think it's going to happen.
You were saying before on another video we did that this might be the longest running joke of the Buffalo Plus podcast of the Bills against Urban Meyer might still pull out that win. And it never gets old because it is so true of where this Bills team.
None of our jokes get old. We're very funny.
Certainly get old. I think there's some people in the comments that would agree as well. But this Jags team really has, Mike, been kind of the thorn in Buffalo's side.
Last year alone, that game in
was
London
so weird.
Yeah,
was brutal with the injuries, the way they lost that game. That was a really bad day for Kaiir Elam. If you remember, he got pushed into duty. You lose Milano. It just was a very, very tough game for the Bills, coming off a huge win against the Dolphins. I think it was 48-20 that they beat the Dolphins in that game. Now, there was a lot of issues with going to Jacksonville, but to your point, Jenna, we've seen this in Jacksonville, in Buffalo, in London twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way it is with the Jags. So I'm not telling, the Bills are the better team, and we'll have our picks later. Newsflash here. I'm going to pick the Bills to win the game. I think they're the better team, but it's just the NFL and desperate teams. What does they say? Hungry dogs run fast.
Yeah.
They're going to be hungry.
Hungry dog runs faster. Even Ed Oliver, though, today, this week at practice was saying, it's weird when the vibes around this game, that's the words he's using. He said he called it weird. So it definitely has a kind of bit of an added element. But I will say, I think it's almost better for Buffalo.
I agree.
Because if this wasn't a winless team going in, I'd say, the Bills' confidence is really high. Mike, you talked about a team being very desperate on the other side. But because this is a team, Dan, that Buffalo has struggled against, I do think that's a positive because they will not overlook what Jacksonville can do and the talent that's able to, if get it done, could result in a Jags win.
Yeah, we had people asking us questions back before week 1. Will the Bills overlook the Cardinals and things like that? Maybe they did a little bit. Maybe that was the Cardinals getting off to a hot start, things like that. I also like the fact that the Bills have had so much time. If it was a quick turnaround, you're still kind of high off that win and you're coming back home and all of that. I think that the fact that they've got enough time to reset, that McDermott's found enough tape to point out, we didn't do this right in Miami. We didn't do this right. We got to be better here. And showing them the history of these last few years of just weird games, I think keeps them on high alert and avoids that overlooking an opponent, because I don't know if you know this, Sean McDermott says they're a really good team. He really respects them, and it starts and ends with respecting your opponent.
It does. And Josh Allen says their defense flies around.
Flies around.
Every week, he says the other team's defense flies around. It feels like a month and a half since they played.
It really does.
So you're going to have Sunday to watch football and relax. If you're a Bills fan, 2 in a row. One, you've already won. The other one, you haven't played yet. So you get a Sunday, peaceful, watch the other teams that you don't like, hope that they lose, and then get ready to play on Monday night. But I just think in this league, especially early, we talk about bad teams don't know they're bad yet. Jags really struggled at the end of last year.
Yes.
They lost, the last 5 games that Trevor Lawrence started, they lost. They only won 1 against Carolina when the backup Beathard played. And they're at a weird crossroads because they're thought to be a good team. And they have Trevor Lawrence, and they have a coach who's won a Super Bowl before. They have talent around them.
Yeah.
And now 2 games that they had the Dolphins done. ATN fumbles going into the end zone. They win that game.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland just kept trying to hand them the game, and they didn't want to take it. So they will be desperate Monday night.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this Bills team heading in. James Cook winning the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Dan, I want to hear from you because you're not always the biggest fan of the run game, but when done effectively, look what it can do for Buffalo.
Yeah, you guys try and twist my words, and you guys try and say that I don't like running the ball, which is just factually inaccurate. I do like running the ball.
You hate running the ball.
You have said many times on this channel.
Correct.
Now watch how he spins this into taking credit. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's a Catalanic. Go ahead.
I'm fine with running the ball when it's effective. I have hated second down runs. I have hated first down runs where you just run into a brick wall to say, hey, at least we ran the ball and it was 1 yard and it was a waste of a down and you're taking the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. I am all for running the ball effectively. What are you giggling about?
So you're results oriented. I don't know, Jim.
A little bit.
It was a good call because it worked.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not
tough
that
to
guy.
do.
I'm not that guy.
That's
I'm not that
exactly
guy.
what you're
You are
saying.
that guy.
You're not that guy. I'm not that guy. But this is, I think, for as much as credit as James Cook deserves, he looks more decisive when he gets the ball and picking lanes and one cut. And, even some of the runs that he's made 3-yard runs could have been 3-yard losses against Miami, was really good at doing all the little things. The Bills offensive line, I think, also deserves a ton of credit for what they've been doing. And along with that also credit goes along to Joe Brady. We talked about it on our last video about the fact that he just continues to stay true to himself and the game plan. And if you're not going to be able to stop it, we're just going to continue to run the ball down your throat until they prove to stop it, because they've thrown the ball 42 times in 2 games.
Yeah.
Crazy for Josh.
Josh Allen has the fewest passing attempts. Second fewest passing attempts in the league, which is just weird to think about when you have the dynamic talent that is Josh Allen. But he talked this week about what it was like. And Dan, you were the one that asked a question about what that was like.
Yeah. I just asked Josh if it's weird, the fact that he's only thrown the ball 42 times, the second most in the league. And here's what he had to say.
No, I mean, I think given our situation this last week when, we're running it as well as we are and you get the ball kind of in really good field position throughout the entire game, that's just kind of the game it's going to be. I don't know if I'd say weird. I think it feels pretty good, and being able to hand the ball off to James and Ray and let them go do some work. And our offensive line is opening some holes from them. They're running it really hard, and we're having some success doing it. So if it's working, keep calling it. And, I know that it's going to present itself in the pass game. We're going to have our opportunities, and we got to go make them.
You know what I heard there? We're a running team.
Just got to sit back, kick up my feet.
Is that what you
That's what I heard. Josh is like, when you need me, call me. When the running game gets done beating other teams up, we'll throw it every once in a while.
I will say it's got to be nice for Josh, especially that game last week, because James Cook was really great at running the ball, but Allen still had those moments of him being spectacular, that pass to Ty Johnson. Like, he still had his Josh signature moments, but then he also was able to kind of relax a little bit. The defense played really well. Obviously, the run game was really important as well, too. So definitely something that I think can be a winning recipe for this team, Dan.
Yes. They will need to find a passing game.
Oh, no doubt. Yes.
See, this is where you twist our words, because we never said, the Bills should just never pass the ball.
Just run it every
just
down.
Every
It's
time.
not what I said either. Just saying, like,
we know they need their passing game.
Yeah.
We have been on team run the ball effectively.
Exactly. We have been
crazy.
team
Should they throw it effectively?
No, I've been team run the ball effectively. You guys have just been team run the ball.
No, I've been
Ineffectively.
team that you need to have another option. You like Josh Allen is.
Yeah, I would have liked a
amazing.
second wide receiver, but I guess we'll see this week.
Okay. You got me all thrown off. But Dalton Kincaid, you bring up needing to throw the ball. Dalton Kincaid has had a quiet season so far. I know we're only 2 games in. He's only had 5 catches. But this is an opportunity, Mike, for him this week. And I expect them to kind of do what they did in this game against the Dolphins this past week, of kind of getting him involved early and setting him up.
The first game, I really do believe the Cardinals brought a lot of attention to him. Bills got behind in the game and then found ways. Allen was great in that game. It is kind of funny that, Josh and the offense end up playing that way, and they end up with a defensive player of the week. And then the next week, the defense really owns the game, and they end up with an offensive player of the week. I think Kincaid's going to get the ball. Jacksonville struggles with tight ends. They have. It's just the way their defense is set up.
Mm-hmm.
They can get good pressure with the front 4, but they struggle in the back 7. That has not been a strength of this team. So I do think, I don't know, Dan, sometimes we will use the word force, and then people take that as like throwing to the guy when he's covered. I think it just means a conscious effort to get the ball to Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, I think it's game planning.
Yeah.
It's calling plays for Dalton Kincaid's number, where he's the number one option, where you kind of force feed, kind of just get in the rhythm. It's like a boxing match when you want to land a few jabs before you throw a big haymaker at him. So like and we saw that in Miami, where it was, I think 2 out of the first 3 plays went to Dalton Kincaid. And then he kind of got nicked up and came out of the game for a little bit, then came back in once the game was already in hand. So I expect more Dalton Kincaid because, Mike, to your point, the Jags have a great front 4.
Right.
This will be the biggest and best test that the Bills' offensive line has had to face. They have some elite edge rushers for the Jags.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami has them healthy right now. And I don't think Arizona got a single pressure on Josh Allen.
No. And
so this will be the biggest test.
Yes.
So you're going to have to find ways to neutralize that and call plays that you haven't really had to do before. So I think it's more tight end screens. It's more wide receiver bubble screens. It's more screen plays to James Cook and swing passes to kind of try and get the defense to not just be pinning their ears back and running downhill.
Yeah, and get the ball out quick.
Yes.
That way you can have, the plays already be downfield when the pressure is coming.
Because, Jenna, we know who's going to be chasing Josh Allen.
Yes, Josh Hines Allen.
Yes.
Which,
I mean, in the game in London, the game in
because
Jacksonville that we were talking about, we were referencing before, Josh Allen, before he used the Hines as a middle name, was a terror in that game. He
phenomenal.
8 tackles. He had an interception, forced fumble, sack. he was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
He was really, really good. And then they have Trayvon Walker from Georgia.
Yep.
Who's got 2 sacks already this year. So they have talent on that defensive line. Their defense has played well enough. Like they could have won.
Statistically, they've allowed they've allowed the fewest points.
If you missed it, that game they played Miami, they were winning up 17-3. It was 17-7 or 17-3, whatever it was. And Travis Etienne is going in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the ball gets stripped. And the Dolphins recover. And a couple plays later,
the next play was the 80-yard
Tyreek Hill gone for a touchdown. So that turned that game around. And then the Cleveland game was back and forth. But the defense of the Jags has played, relatively well for them.
I know we talked about the running game, but if there is a game, I think, to get right and kind of jumpstart the Bills' passing offense, they gave up about 338 yards to Tua and the Dolphins. And then you also have, so I look at that game as an indictment on their lack of passing defense, because Cleveland and Deshaun Watson can't throw the football at all. So while they held them to 18 points or whatever, that's not a test, really. Deshaun Watson doesn't count to me as a quarterback. That's
something.
Is an NFL quarterback right now.
He's terrible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because this team is so desperate. I feel like this team has to get things going. What?
Hold on. Jason Conklin, thank you. Gave us a little tip here. And he says, tomorrow is Friday. Credit to me.
I love that.
Well done.
Well done, Jason.
Is pretty good. Oh, there's a question from Nathan. Where can I buy Buffalo Plus gear? If you check out the Buffalo Plus store, buffaloplusstore.com, you can find all of our Bills stuff on there.
Yeah. Are you going there right now?
I am. I'm just making sure it's buffaloplusstore.com.
It is.
It is.
We got the Let James Cook shirt on there, right?
Yes. We have that Left James Cook, Throw the Damn Ball koozies. We have stickers. We have hats. We have mugs. We have polos, quarter zips. You have the Keon Coleman shirt too.
Keon Cole him.
Yes.
Be nice to have him catch a pass this week.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
It would be good to get him going. I mean, all these players, and it's been odd circumstances. Again, the way the games played out, they found the way to get it done. Josh was all over the place in the Arizona game, and then last week it was limited possessions. It really was
in shorter fields.
Yeah,
I mean, and then you had a pick six, and you had a 1-play drive when James Cook took it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positives that take away from your offensive stats.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Context.
Yes.
Yeah. Context does matter. In terms of the Jags offense, Trevor Lawrence was very honest about where this team was at, saying post-game that they sucked, which actually I very much appreciate him being forthright and like, yeah, we are not good we are not where we want to be right now. And I think you had a really great interview about where this Jags team is.
Yeah.
And where they want to go, but what's been the issues with them?
So it's JP Shadrick, who's a reporter for the Jags. He does the coaches show. You can see the entire interview on the channel, on Buffalo Plus channel. He talked about their mechanics. He talked about them plays in, how quickly getting it done. And, Mitch Morris is their center now. And I don't think Mitch is a problem. I know he's new there, but he's been around the league. And they have other guys that are back. Gabe Davis is one of the wide receivers, but these kind of things, coordinator to the quarterback who's been around, that's really surprising to me, I would say a little bit. And he said that really impacted this team. Penalties, they didn't look prepared. They didn't look ready. So that usually gets everybody's attention going into the next week.
Yeah, and you asked him about Trevor Lawrence, his comments after the game, and here's just a little bit of what he had to say.
But Trevor's got something in him. I don't know if I can quite put my finger on exactly what it is, but it's not nothing. And I don't think we've quite even come close to seeing what he can do as a whole in this league. I think the way he responded to the loss last week, just how inept the offense looked at times, from the play calls getting in late to short yardage miscues to a 1 for 4 in the red zone to you name it, they had issues. And the way he responded was so honest, and it was his most raw post-game press conference we've ever heard.
It's telling.
Yeah.
That's where the slight concern is. I think the Bills are the better team. I think they're better in all 2.5 phases. We can talk about the kicker in a second, but for the most part, I think that I know a lot of fans are probably very confident going into this game, which is fine. You throw in the weird factor, you throw in a desperate Jags team, you throw in a Trevor Lawrence that pretty much called out himself and his teammates.
He called out everyone.
Yeah. Little bit concerned.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right. You talked earlier about kind of a reunion, Gabe Davis, Mitch Morse. I think that will be kind of weird because last week we saw Jordan Poyer in a Dolphins jersey, and that was like, oh, that doesn't look right. But a Gabe Davis, Mitch Morse, particularly Mitch Morse, I think will look a little strange. But these are two former captains coming back to Orchard Park, Mike, who had such an impact and helped get this Bills team for so long, the divisional title and all this stuff. So what do you think of just those guys coming back to Buffalo and what that will feel like?
So Jordan Poyer was a very accomplished player for the Bills. Leader, did so many things well. I think Mitch is close to that. I still think I would put Poyer ahead of him in his time in Orchard Park. The thing was, we saw Jordan Poyer, and while he's still an NFL player and he can still make some plays, I think when you're there, it feels weird to see them, but you see why they moved on. I think Mitch Morse easily could have still been the starting center for this team.
Yeah.
And I think they made the move in part financially. They had gotten Conor McGregor. They thought about McGovern. I always want to say it like he's at MMA. He's going to beat somebody up.
That's okay. He's also like the nicest guy.
I know. He's couldn't be more different.
Conor McGovern.
Gabe Davis.
He had a few great moments.
He had great moments.
How do you feel like that reception will be from Bills Mafia?
Oh, it'll be fine.
I feel like it could.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's a game and you got to beat him, but I don't think there's this dislike of Gabe Davis. I think he moved on.
I think there was
a
an
good
incident
player
towards the end of the game, his final game. There's video of him getting into it with some fans. I don't think he necessarily left on the warmest regards.
That's some fans at the game. I mean, I guess it could happen. I don't think of Gabe. I think Gabe Davis outplayed his draft status for a short period of time, had those moments, and the team thought he was going to be better than he ended up being.
The team gave him every opportunity.
And it never went past being just a guy.
The Jags. Yeah.
Credit to me.
Dan, you were annoying about your lack of faith, I would say, in Gabe Davis.
Perfectly said.
And I said, it's the ankle injury. It's all this stuff. But unfortunately, Dan was right. So there's that. But
hey, got one
in a row. So speaking of takes from Dan, Shohei Ohtani.
So not football here, but baseball. Shohei Ohtani. 50 home runs, 50 steals, never been done in the same season.
Unbelievable.
The moment I saw that guy, Jenna, I thought this guy's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Didn't you agree?
Oh my gosh.
Right away.
1,000%.
Dan, what'd you think when you first saw him?
I thought the same thing. I was like, this guy is going to be so impressive.
Nope.
So Dan tweeted about Shohei. And what'd you say?
2018. Spring training of 2018.
And you said...
he just hit 51. Sorry. I swear.
No, he did not.
I swear.
No, that's the game's over.
Oh, it is? I don't know.
Yeah,
I just got it. I think
that's the joke.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got excited.
I thought the game ended. That was when he hit 50. How many at-bats does he get?
It's 20-3.
It says 51.
He hit another one.
Oh my God. So go ahead. Now finish your story. It gets even better.
Yeah. Hey, we all fire off takes. Some land, some don't. Some people say 99% of the time I couldn't care less about spring training, but when the Japanese Babe Ruth, in quotes, has given up 13 runs in 4 innings on the mound, I can't help but laugh. I said it when he signed. Shohei Ohtani has all caps, bust written all over it.
So Shohei
that
Ohtani
is, yes.
is prolific. So there's
and
that.
I never deleted it. Like I stand by, I think deleting tweets.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you stand by what you said.
No,
He's
Hey,
just
look on the
Hey,
plus side.
hey,
He's never gone 60-60.
correct.
Right.
And the book's not out. Maybe he ends up, and my take could swing back.
There's that. Okay, let's go back to the game.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to put context of some of Dan's.
Yes,
takes.
agreed. All right, so Hiram Moore saying, hopefully this game doesn't come down to a field goal.
Ooh.
And I think that's an excellent point because this week the Bills brought in a couple kickers for workouts. Now, Bass did miss the field goal at the end of the Dolphins game. Obviously, the Bills had already wrapped up that game. It was kind of a no-pressure situation, and he missed badly. What do you make of them bringing in a kicker? Because this is really the first time we've seen them bring in guys for workouts.
He made all the kicks against the Cardinals.
Mhm.
That was good. They needed him, especially the one at the end. That was as close as you got to a pressure setting to take it from 3 to 6. At the end of that playoff game with the Steelers last year, he shanked a kick bad. We know he missed the one against the Chiefs that would have tied the game late. And then you go into this year, and like you said, it didn't matter. But Brandon Beane is sitting there watching the snap, the hold, the kick.
Mhm.
Sean McDermott's sitting there going, if I'm sending a kicker out there, what did he say right away? He's got to make
Gotta
those.
make
He
that.
said that in the preseason. I think they are looking. They are saying, who's out there? Who do we like? So you bring a guy in, a couple of them on Tuesday, and say, let's watch them kick if we need somebody. Because the minute somebody needs a kicker, these guys are always out there working out. I think they're on alert. I don't think it has gotten to, it would be, if it was a big kick, if it was to tie the game or win the game and he misses it. But I don't think we're there yet that just a miss like he had in the Miami game is going to get him cut.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay. And you may be right.
I
for
think
once.
that they.
Sorry. It was just too easy.
That was really easy.
That wasn't very nice, though.
No, it wasn't nice, but it was
Not
easy.
nice.
I think that the Bills, McDermott, Beane, since the end of the season, have all said the right thing. They have towed the company line. They have backed Bass at every single chance when he has missed kicks and when he has looked shaky in training camp. This is the first time I think that they have really made a conscious effort to put him on the full-blown hot seat.
Yeah.
They could have brought somebody in training camp. They could have brought somebody in on the practice squad. They could have done all of those things. They didn't. He absolutely awful miss in the Miami game. And I know it doesn't matter, but I think we were talking about it on our show. I think he's one kick away from being cut. I think that is where they're at, because if you're unsure now, it will become a bigger problem later.
Yeah.
Bears fans talked about it. Like, you knew that with Cody Parkey, like, there were problems, and it was only a matter of time before it was a really big spot that you're like, oh, I wish we would have made a move sooner.
You know what was interesting was earlier this week watching that Chiefs-Bengals game, Harrison Butker comes out for the final kick right at the buzzer, and I had no doubt that he was going to make that kick. The Chiefs were going to win the game.
So RJ has a comment here. He says, it's sad that no one has confidence in Bass 30 yards out. Meanwhile, there's so many random kickers hitting him 60 yards. That may be a bit hyperbole, but there are kickers routinely in the 50s.
Yep.
Just routinely, like it's nothing. Harrison Butker is the top of the list now. He's surpassed Justin Tucker.
Yeah, he has.
Tucker can't kick from distance anymore. And even that team, with that guy who's going to the Hall of Fame, at some point, they'll move on from him because they're going to need to. So to your point, Dan, I think you are right. It shifted when they brought guys in, and teams bring players in on Tuesdays. But most of the time, I think that is, so we'd have an extra corner or an extra defensive back. In this case, you only have one kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And
you bring in guys, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows that somebody was in there.
And they haven't done anything in the offseason to bring in another guy.
That's where I was saying, like, this, they have given Bass plenty of leash and plenty of support and all of those things.
I'm seeing people in the comments, TR, saying, yep, can't cut him, moving on. Like, they can't, Gerald, they can't cut him.
They can.
They absolutely can.
Oh, don't worry about
You
the
think
cap.
if they can't, if Tyler Bass is not making kicks, he will not be on this roster.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
The salary cap isn't real. Like, I'm not going to go into the big long like spiel about it, but like, if you're unsure about your kicker and you think you're a Super Bowl contending team, which the Bills maybe believe that they are, and I'm sure they think that they can make a deep run, they're not going to be held back by the kicker. Financial reasons or not, they will cut Tyler Bass.
There's no question that they would, and it's just too important. And there's only one. And by the way, I am with you. I think it was Aiden who just said, Aiden, we're not going to roast Mike for saying Monday. I hate when I say Monday, Tuesday.
I honestly didn't even pick up on
jersey. It's a jersey. It's a lot.
You say bagel. Some of my friends from like Philly area say bagel.
Who
I don't know.
Who are you talking to?
I don't know.
Are they from Reading?
No. No, they're
bagel.
Not.
No,
I don't know. They say
but
bagel.
I say Monday. Anyhow, Bass has to be on alert. I think he knows it. The thing this team wants more than anything is for him to figure it out and start knocking through kicks. Because like you said, he's done it before.
Well, and
he was really good. Yeah,
he
was really good. It's not like he's a rookie and he's never done it. Something happened. Think about the Detroit game. I had full faith he was going to make that kick.
Things change.
It has changed. So he's got to get it back. And if he doesn't get it back,
we are now seeing the sample size is getting bigger.
Yeah.
Of the mistakes and where things are going wrong.
Yeah. I felt confident in him after the Miami game or after the Arizona game, and then with Miami how it ended, and it just looked bad.
Right.
What are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at Shohei Ohtani has the most absurd box score I've ever seen. 6 for 6, 4 runs scored, 10 runs batted in, 3 home runs.
Oh my
it's a little league game.
Yes.
Bust.
What I meant, somebody commented to my tweet just now and said, you meant Hall of Fame bust.
I made that joke earlier in the office. You guys didn't laugh.
Oh, nobody were listening to it, were we? We weren't.
Never seen a bust.
That's it. Shohei. Well, he's on his way.
Yes.
He's doing well.
Okay. Do we want to do our predictions for the game?
Yeah. Do you want to do predictions and then credit to me?
Yeah. And then our credit to me section.
Okay. Am I going first?
Sure.
All right. I showed Jenna, I wrote down, she couldn't read my awful chicken scratch handwriting, but I had written down, I thought the Bills would win 27-10. I thought it'd be an easy win. And then I thought more about this game and all of the weird things that have always seemed to happen between the Jags game, 2019 or 2021, all of those games, London. I think this game's going to be closer than we think. I think that Trevor Lawrence and a desperate Jags team, 0-2, their season kind of on the brink if they want to have any chance at the playoffs. I have them winning. I have the Bills winning 24-20. I think this may be uncomfortable type of a game, but the Bills win 24-20, squeak it out.
I have the Bills winning this one actually by a significant margin, 28-13. I just think if it was another team, I would be worried because Jacksonville is so desperate. But this is a team that has really hurt the Bills over the years, and Buffalo is on high alert because of that. I think it's obviously a road game for Jacksonville. The environment will play into it. I think we really haven't seen Josh last week. He didn't really need to rely on the passing game. I think this week, he does. He finds Dalton Kincaid. He gets more involved with guys like Keon Coleman, maybe even an MVS deep ball. But I expect this to be a Bills game where they're able to be effective, both passing and rushing. And I think the defense, look, there's been injuries. Obviously, you can't downplay that. But I just think where the Jags are at right now, they're not in a good spot. And I think Buffalo can capitalize on that.
Yeah. Evan Ingram, as we're talking about this now, didn't practice again with a hamstring. So we'll see if he plays, but the Bills are missing Bernard and Johnson. So that makes it tough. You talk about their history. I mean, you go back to the 1998 game when it was Jim Kelly's last game. The Jags beat him in the playoffs, the 2 times in London, the other time in the playoffs, the game Dan and I talked about. It doesn't seem right when they're playing the Jags for some reason. Jags have the overall lead 10-9. And then last year, we know that's what ended up happening in London. I still think the Bills are the better team, but I will tell you this. Shad Khan, the owner of the Jags, came out and was on tape saying, this is a year we need to win. Like the winning needs to be now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got out and JP that we had the video with from Jacksonville said it was no mistake that ended up, they put it on their social media.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, we got to win. The reason I bring that up is Trevor Lawrence isn't going anywhere. They paid him. He's a quarterback. But Doug Peterson's got heat on him. This entire organization has heat on them. And when the quarterback says that, it's kind of like, I do think they will play like a desperate team.
Yeah.
Are they good enough? I still don't think so. I have the Bills winning it 27-19. But with that 3-game road trip coming up, will you talk about a massive way?
Yeah.
You go into that 3-0. That's tough. All those games are going to be tough. You do not want to be coming off something bad. So let's see what happens. But I have the Bills winning it by 8.
Yeah. All right. We're all 2-0 in the season. We're all taking Buffalo on Monday Night Football, prime time. Bills love the prime time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to do our new segment?
New segment.
Credit to me.
Wee, 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 new segment alert.
Okay.
Credit to me, where we each get a chance, if we want to take credit or
Give credit.
give credit to somebody else that deserves it. Michael,
All right. So
that lead off for us.
we travel a decent amount for the games. We fly a decent amount of times. So I'm going to say credit to me, but not just me. To me and all of the other right-thinking travelers on an airplane.
Common sense travelers.
Plane lands. They make all those announcements. You got to keep the seatbelt on. We all know this, right?
Mhm.
Bags are all over the place. Who's got it up here? Who's got it up there? It's a very simple rule on a plane. Unless you are going to be late for a connection. And believe me, if that's the case, sort of tell everybody, like, I'm in trouble here. I'm going to miss my connection. Gladly let you go. But you can't just stand up and walk down the aisle while the rest of us sit there waiting what's supposed to be the natural turn to go. Now, is that not accurate? Did it not happen to us on the plane from Miami, from Fort Lauderdale?
The best part about it, Jenna, is that Mike will give the play-by-play of like, can you see this?
Oh my
Like, yeah,
God.
hey, like, what's this guy doing?
So-
What's he doing?
So there was a woman sitting next to me with a little baby. Kid was great. Didn't make a peep most of the time. Was just playing fine. That woman's mother was in the row in front. She was not happy with the guy who got up. Now that man was a little older, was trying to get a bag for his wife. I'm cool with that. I'm cool. He was going up there. He wanted to get the bag. He was making sure. All you had to do was take 2 seconds. You would have seen, he's fine. Let the man go. He was fine. That lady flipped out. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying when you're 23 years old, what are you getting up walking by everybody for? Wait your turn. Is
Yeah.
that so much to ask?
Sometimes though, when people get mad when people stand up right after a flight's over,
I don't mind you standing up.
Okay, sometimes I'm like, as someone who's not short, I'm like, I need to like stretch my legs.
I'm talking about standing up and beelining it towards the front of the plane.
There should be 2 different types of air travel, like people that know how to fly and
If you
elderly people and parents and kids and first-time flyers.
if you take off your shoes
Oh.
and your socks on a plane,
Jail.
no
Yeah.
doubt about it. That to me is
You saw what
the
happened to
wild-
Altuve in the baseball game.
Yeah.
He took off his shoes and socks, ejected. They need one of the stewardess or flight attendants just go, you're out.
Yeah.
Chuck them from the game,
done.
from the plane. But I don't know. Do you think most people are with us, or do you think most people think you can just get up and walk out?
No, most people I think are with us.
That's why I say
you need
credit to the right thinking travelers.
Yeah, that you need to have common sense of we're all getting off this plane. It's like a deck of cards. You shuffle out. Everybody merges and you move.
Don't you wish they would announce, like, I've been on that flight. You've been it, where we're going to miss our connection.
Yeah.
And some of the other people maybe are waiting for bags or it's no big deal. I would gladly just sit there and let them go.
Yeah.
But they got to announce it.
Clint Prosser saying, "Oh, Matt Collins will not be on a flight with Jenna."
No, he says he wears shoes in an airport. He says
I think you have to.
No, he said that.
Yeah.
He said that hospitals and public transportation, like subways, he said he wears shoes.
That
See?
seems like the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah. You got a credit?
Yeah, I got a credit. It's not to me though.
Okay.
It's credit to Val. Credit to my mom. I'm getting married next year, and
Really?
yeah. So my teeth are a little messed up. I had braces growing up.
They're not messed up, but
Yeah.
Okay, I had braces growing up, and I didn't wear my retainer, and my mom was like, "You're gonna regret that." And I was like, no, Mom, you're so dramatic. It's fine. Credit to Val. She was right.
Isn't she always right?
She's usually right. So I called her after I went to an orthodontist appointment as an adult last week. And
he dunked on you.
And I got dunked on hard. And my braces would have been a challenge. So credit to Val. Shout out her, though, because when I called her, she did not dunk on me and say, I told you so. She's just like, it's okay. It's all right. We don't need to worry about this. And I was like, thanks, Mom. But credit to her, because if you have a teenager that doesn't want to wear their retainers, please show them this. You will regret it. Wear your retainers.
So my daughter did not take care of her braces and the teeth and ended up with a line in her teeth, and then later had to get bonding.
Oh, wow.
And my dentist at the time, she was about 19, 20 years old. She said, it's expensive. Let her pay for it.
Yeah.
When she's a little older.
Yeah.
She doesn't need it right now. Didn't listen. Parents are always right.
They are. Also, when people are like, oh, there's Invisalign, it was Invisalign.
Yeah.
It was the Invisalign, which is a nice option, but still very expensive. Also, I didn't know that most insurances don't cover braces if you're an adult. So got the whammy.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm taking credit.
Oh, I'm so shocked.
Okay.
No, I've talked about this before. Credit to anybody that's bought a house or doing work on a house. I'm in it. Every time that we say, oh, we're just going to relax tonight, watch TV or things like that, 5 other things get added to the to-do list of remodeling this house. And 2 young girls, 1 on the way, a pregnant wife.
Wait, you haven't announced it on the channel?
Yeah, I think we have.
Oh.
I made a post about it.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I haven't. My wife is.
Dan's going to have a kid once a year.
Yeah.
Every year.
The way that this thing has worked out. Yeah, so between one girl going to my 4-year-old now in preschool, a 1-year-old that is just fearless, I'm in it. And then we just remodel houses. Apparently, we're just. I'm having so much fun. Remodeling this house is just unbelievable.
Max says Dan has been busy. What are you taking credit for?
For surviving.
Oh, please. How about Renee?
Yes, she's.
How about credit to Renee?
Seriously.
Yeah, but
and she's been the project coordinator.
Yeah, who does the projects?
Not
What's
you,
the guy's
Chuck.
name? Chuck.
I thought that.
Jojo, wow, that's gonna be so many kids.
So many kids. It's too many kids. So yeah, credit to anybody that is and we haven't even ripped up the kitchen yet. We've only cut checks for the kitchen.
You're in it, bud.
We're trying to get the kitchen done before baby girl number 3 comes in early December. So
during the bill season? I'm kidding.
I didn't run that through the team.
But hold on. You're taking, this is interesting that you're taking credit.
Yeah, I never would.
Are you shocked by that?
I know.
Dan taking credit?
I think I had a credit to me when we went golfing. And then I forgot what it is. And so I just was like, I'll just take credit for surviving buying a house. And
Jenna, Walter says, tell them you're a kid at heart and maybe you'll get a discount.
Oh, I should ask that. Hey, I'm a kid at heart.
Oh, TR says Gabe Davis with 5 TDs.
Whoa.
He didn't have 5
against the Chiefs. He had 4.
Yeah, he had 4.
He didn't have 5 all last year.
Yeah.
Oh, Moon's Family Fishing. Credit to Buffalo Plus for the #1 Bills podcast.
Oh, thank you.
That is
That's
very kind.
Nice.
That is very sweet. Okay, let's see if I'm getting so many calls. Sorry.
Credit to Val.
Credit to Val. Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, I think
all right,
so.
we will all be at the game on Monday night. We'll have plenty of post-game coverage on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Also want to remind everyone that we have the audio podcast, Buffalo Plus, available wherever you find your podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to that as well. For Mike Catalana and Dan.
The recap will be out Tuesday morning right here on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
7 a.m.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
C. Duffy from Western North Carolina says, big fan of the pod. Thank you.
Awesome. We always appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining us. All right, we'll have plenty more coverage on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Always appreciate it. For Mike and Dan, I am Jenna. Credit to you all for watching. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris.